All right, listen up, y'all.
Greetings, everybody. This is another episode of All Things Education Official. I am your host and resident educator, Mr. Abdullah, giving you education from a foundational Black American male's perspective. Please subscribe, comment, like, and share. Go ahead, put us in the algorithm. If you like what you're seeing, subscribe, comment, like, and share. Today we're going to have a quick mini lesson, and it's going to be a little reaction. I don't do a lot of reaction videos, but what I'd like to react is to this wonderful sister that is going to be discussing, one, how grades don't matter, and they're also going to be talking about an 8th grade graduation in St. Louis, Missouri.
Okay, let's talk about it real quick. Let's make it make sense. I do not understand the logic of having teachers grade assignments and then put those assignments in the grade book when admin is just going to force a teacher to change bad grades or go behind a teacher's back and change the grades anyway. We literally have kids missing a whole quarter from school and showing up the day before grades are due and turning in a boatload of assignments, and they are allowed to pass for the quarter and have not been to school one day at all. We have kids skipping class and sleeping in class, and they are allowed to come back the day that grades are due and turn in make-up work in order to get a passing grade and have not been to class one time but have been in the building every day. We have seniors who have Fs and they are about to graduate high school, and when you tell them that they have an F at the end of the quarter, they tell you, oh well, I'm still gonna graduate anyway. Exactly what do you expect a teacher to do when a student knows that a teacher has no power over their grade? All a parent has to do is call, hollering and screaming about a grade, and that grade is going to be changed. I do not know why in the public school system we have abandoned accountability for students, but we have got to do better. It is no reason why teachers are working overtime and on the weekend, the day grades are due, putting in grades for students who did nothing and expect to get something. Make it make sense.
These are the things that we worry about. These are the things that we deal with as educators. We talk to parents that do not want to hold themselves accountable, nor the child, and then you wonder why the child acts the way they do, because they do not feel as if the rules apply to them. We all know that when a child is taught a terrible lesson, it is visited upon us as a community and a society. A lot of times these children decide early on, I'm not going to do it because I know it's no consequence. And they get those directives and those pointers from their parents. And this is something that we have to work against. Not only that, we oftentimes have to work against our own administration just to make sure that these children get the information that they need in order to be successful. Now, the second video that is being discussed is talking about an 8th grade graduation in St. Louis, Missouri.
Okay, let's talk about it real quick. Let's make it make sense. So a school in St. Louis, Missouri had their 8th grade graduation, and they banned a few kids from attending. But they notified the parents prior to graduation that their child would not be able to graduate due to bad grades, poor attendance, or bad behavior. But you know what? Parents still dressed those kids up, marched them down to the school, and when they couldn't get in, got on the news and said how they were outraged by the school behavior. Well, how come you're not outraged by your child's behavior? Okay, you do realize that your child cannot attend graduation because they had bad grades? You do realize that your child cannot attend graduation because of poor attendance? So you want schools to reward bad grades, bad behavior, and poor attendance? Make it make sense. Okay, see, the problem is parents don't want to hold kids accountable, but teachers in schools are tired of rewarding bad behavior. It is no reason why you should be at graduation if you don't know how to act. It is no reason why you should be graduating if you don't even have the grades. Come on, make it make sense. What we talking about, parents? What are you really mad at? So I applaud the school in St. Louis, Missouri. Stand your ground. Stand your ground and don't let them kids in. If they didn't do what they were supposed to do, then they should not be at graduation. When I was a student, if you did anything bad in the last few weeks of school, you were not allowed to walk. Okay, that's called accountability, because you know in life there's a consequence for every action, whether it's good or bad, and that's what we need to be teaching kids. So St. Louis, Missouri, round of applause, because there's very few schools who still holding kids accountable. Parents, you're just gonna have to be mad.
When I first started working in New Jersey, I worked in New Jersey for a while, and in New Jersey, I had never even heard of an 8th grade graduation. I heard of step-up ceremonies. I've heard of just being passed along, just going into the 9th grade. But in some states, 8th grade has become a really big deal. And unfortunately, I was told by one of my first administrators. It was one of the most depressing things I'd ever heard in education. He said, the reason why 8th grade graduation is such a big deal is because some of our children will never make it to see a high school graduation. And I thought that was so terrible to say. But as I grew in my career and went further and further along, I saw it to be true. So though I do understand why some parents put a lot of energy into 8th grade graduations, I do think it is counterintuitive, and I think it's counter to the narrative that we can graduate from high school, potentially college or trade schools, going to lucrative fields. I think that it's just a setup. So with that being said, I like to say that you find that some children, they're more intent on graduating, but not doing the work to earn the graduation. And just like the young lady stated, oftentimes these parents, they just say, we're going to do what we want to do because it's our time. Sometimes you get parents that have not graduated from the 8th grade. So what do? They put all of their ideas, they transfer all of those hopes and desires onto their children. And some of them are so mediocre, so minuscule, so minor that the children begin to believe that this is a great thing. This is awesome. I'm getting an 8th grade diploma. It's not even a diploma. You're getting a makeshift certificate that says you can go to the 9th grade. And some of them don't even earn it. They come late. They don't do work. And because of social promotion, which we know is a thing throughout the nation, children are just being passed along. And then we wonder why we don't rank highly in academics across the world. A lot of our children are suffering. So when or if they're able to attend post-secondary educational institutions, colleges, trade, they struggle. This is something that I say that is visited upon the Black community in particular at an exorbitant rate. I think that oftentimes our children fall victim to this because they have low expectations from their teachers and their administrators, and sometimes all the way up to the superintendent. The superintendents are just saying, hey, we want to make sure our district scores are high. And then you have assistant superintendents say, I want to make sure my area scores are high and graduation rates are high. And then to go further, you have the principals say, I don't want the scores for the area or the district to be lowered because of my school. So they literally push teachers to give grades that do not make sense, that are not earned. And if you are a parent and you have a child in an educational institution, if you have a niece, nephew, you have a friend has a child, if you're invested, if you're a stakeholder in any sense of the word, it's incumbent upon you to go to your teachers and say, look, I want you to push my child. Make sure they know the work. It may be a pain in the ass for that child, but ultimately they'll benefit. And I guarantee you they will thank you later. This is another episode of All Things Education Official. My name is Mr. Abdullah. I am your host and resident educator. You got any questions, please feel free to email me at info@allthingseducator.com. But once again, subscribe, like, share, put us into the algorithm. Let people know we're here talking about education from a foundational Black American male's perspective. And once again, you are dismissed.
Yeah!